Hey nerds, welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be my omnibus and hardcover collection for my comic books and graphic novels. Just so you guys know what I collect, I mainly only collect hardcovers. I do not collect trade paperbacks or any form of paperback omnis. I mainly stick to hardcovers. So let's get started. Okay, so to start my comic book collection, we have my little manga shelf, which I'm sure you guys will or have seen in my manga collection video. Starting on top of there, we have the Calvin and Hobbes hardcover box set. I'm very happy to be an owner of this. I hear they go for pretty high, but this is staying with me. I do love Calvin and Hobbes, and it's pretty much strip comics. If you've seen any Duck Comics or anything like that, it's very similar to that. Then we have my first introduction to Usagi Yojimbo, which is the box set for the special edition, the 2 volumes. I would like to continue the story of Usagi Yojimbo, but those black deluxe editions are hard to get unless they do a reprint again. But if not, then this is going to be all I get for good old Usagi. But we'll move on over to the larger shelf here. So to start off, we have, of course, Absolute Carnage. Let me move lighting for you guys a little bit. Absolute Carnage. I got that before it went out of print and was very hard to obtain. Then we have Annihilation, Annihilation Conquest, Captain America by Wade, my first whale ever that I actually got my hands on. I'll probably replace that at some point. The spine is a little wonky on my copy, so hopefully it gets a reprint and I can actually replace it. And we get a good DM variant cover, hopefully. But then we have Captain America by Dan Jurgens. Following that, we have, of course, Captain America by Ed Brubaker. I have 4 out of the 5 volumes in the set. I'm missing Trial of Captain America, but I'm sure that will get reprinted much like Volume 1 and 2 did, or fingers crossed at least. Then we have Captain America by Rick Remender. I'm a big fan of Rick Remender. I'm not crazy about this run, but it's definitely worth having in the collection, especially because Captain America is my favorite character, so I'll probably be getting all of his omnis at some point. Then we have Daredevil Volume 1 by Mark Waid. I do need Volume 2. Deadpool Classic, which I pretty much got because of the Agent X issues included. I'm actually not a huge Deadpool fan. I know, shocking, but I do like Agent X. It reminds me of my childhood. Then we have the Omnibuses, which of course I pick up because they are light, or they're not as harsh on the wallet, at least. I am missing 1 volume though, which I will get eventually because I don't think these are out of print, and I don't think they ever will be. Or at least the volume I'm looking for isn't. Don't quote me on that. Then we have Doctor Strange by Jason Aaron. I love Jason Aaron as a writer, and his run on Thor and Strange are 2 of my favorite runs for both the characters. I'm not a huge Doctor Strange fan, but I do enjoy this run, so I had to pick it up. Plus, again, it was like 75 bucks, much cheaper if you get it off online, so why not? Then we have Fantastic Four by Hickman, volumes 1 and 2. I'm extremely happy to have that in the collection. That's probably one of my favorite comic book runs ever. Then we have Hulk by Peter David, volumes 1 and 2. I'll be getting volumes 3 and 4 at some point. Following that, we have World War Hulk, the omnibus. I know it gets a lot of flack, but I actually really enjoy it. It's a really fun read, in my opinion at least. Then we have next shelf, Hulk by Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. Fun read as well. And then we have Infinity Gauntlet, the omnibus, which Onslaught, Heroes Reborn, and Heroes Return follow that. I have the whole trilogy there. Then we get into some Spider-Man. We have Spider-Man by David Michelini and Todd McFarlane. Then we have Adjectiveless Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane, the good old Todd father. Book is worth getting just for the art alone. And we have my favorite run on Spider-Man by JMS. I think that is the best run on Spider-Man, even over the Dan Slott run. Don't attack me, it's just my opinion, but man, there are some good stories in there, and I know the issues that you're probably going to bring up, but when 90% of it's good, you can't shake a stick at it. Then we get into some Star Wars. I have 2 Legend Omnis. I'm not going to be picking up all of them, just the ones I kind of want, which is Rise of the Sith and the Empire Volume 1. That goes into Charles Soule and Kieran Gillen's Darth Vader Omnis, which then gets followed by the Star Wars by Jason Aaron Omni. Sorry guys, my battery died, so we'll pick up where we left off. We left off with Star Wars by Jason Aaron. We lead into, of course, Thor by Jason Aaron. This Omni sold like hotcakes. I was able to get a copy, thankfully. My favorite run on Thor. I'm sure I might get some flack for that, but Jason Aaron's run and JMS's run on Thor are my 2 favorites, but let me know what yours are if we disagree or agree. Then we have Ultimates, which is probably my favorite Omni, Marvel Omni at least, in my collection. The first comic book I ever collected in single issue back when I was collecting was the Ultimates. And then, so that has a lot of nostalgic importance to me, but it's also a great grounded take on the Avengers, and it's kind of a Cap story, and Cap's my favorite. Next up we have Ultimate Comics Avengers, also by Mark Miller. This Omni is not as good, gets a little loony there at the end, but just because it somewhat follows this, I wanted it. I like the completion of the story, even though it's not exactly one after the other. You get what I'm saying. Next up, we have everybody's favorite Marvel Omni, which is Ultimate Spider-Man. Bendis, Bagley on art. Doesn't get much better than that. Great series, great read. Sorry if I stepped in front of the light there. X-Men, the Phoenix Saga Omnibus. Yeah, Claremont, Byrne in there. And it was recently reprinted as the Phoenix Omnibus, but I didn't really like that. I liked when it was a X-Men Omni. So instead of getting that one, I got this for an extremely discounted price. I like the cover better. I like how it's labeled better, so why not? Moving down from there, we'll continue with some more X-Men. We have the New Mutants, Volume 1. Next to that, we have more Peter David on X Factor. I love Peter David. He is like the pinnacle of 90s writing, as far as I'm concerned, and I love the 90s, especially that era in comics. I know a lot of people hate it, but I'm a huge fan. Then we have more 90s goodness, which is X-Men Age of the Apocalypse, the Omnibus and its companion. Again, another story that I don't think a whole lot of people love, but I do. Then we have my favorite run on X-Men, Astonishing X-Men by Joss Whedon. Great designs for the characters, keep them true to their historical look, but change it up, update it a little bit. Storytelling's great, art's great. This is a must-read, especially if you're getting into X-Men. Then we have my second whale that I was able to find, which if you follow me on TikTok, at Illuminati_, you've probably seen this already. It is the yellow, blue, gray, and white omnibus. I have a custom, that's why we get the beautiful red square that we care so much about. Obviously, Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale. That's all I got for you. You don't need anything else. Worth reading, definitely. Then we have Always an Invader by Zdarsky. Great story, a little bit of a Cap story again, but you get to revisit the Invaders. So that's a nice little fun callback. We have Amazing Spider-Man, the Red Goblin, until those Dan Slott omnis start rolling out. I'm going to hold on to this. Then we have Avengers Sanction, which is a little bit of a prologue for AVX, which that omni's coming out soon. We have Avengers Endless Wartime. Read it, hated it, but it was like $5 at Ollie's, so I picked it up. Civil War, my favorite Marvel event ever. I loved the effects on the Marvel Universe that it had. I'm hoping for an Omni at some point so we could get those Civil War frontline tie-in issues, but I don't see that happening, at least in the near future. Maybe if they run out of ideas eventually, but we'll see. And then we have some classic hardcovers with Hulk. Till that Omni rolls out, this is staying in the collection. Run on Hulk. I think it's extremely underrated. And then we have Revenge of the Mandarin, Iron Man. Not a huge Iron Man fan, but I did enjoy that story. Then we have Lockjaw and the Pet Avengers. Fun little pet animal story. Not anything amazing. Nova Origin, I'm sorry. We have Jeff Loeb again and Ed McGuinness. If you can't tell, I love that duo. You're going to see them more as the collection continues. I'm hoping for a more modern Nova Omni, which will probably happen now that the Nova Omnibus was actually announced. We have Planet Hulk. This actually is the Hulk versus Thor Comic-Con cover. I found it at a Comic-Con, picked it up. Then we have some more Dan Slott, Spider-Man Dying Wish. That will be subbed out once we get those Omnis. And Spider-Man A Moment in Time, or One Moment in Time, I'm sorry. Then we have the Supreme Power hardcovers. I feel like this isn't talked about enough. It is a very interesting take on Squadron Supreme and characters that are like Superman, Flash, and Green Lantern. It's great. It's realistic. It's bloody. It's brutal. If you haven't checked that out, definitely check that out. I don't see it in a lot of people's collections, and I don't hear enough people talk about it. But I loved this series. It was in the Max line, which was the adult Marvel line, and it was awesome. But I think these are all the volumes that are out from volume 1 to the pre-war years, but I think it stopped after that. And then next to that, we have Ultimate Power. We get the Supreme Power characters meeting the Ultimate Universe. Very fun. I wouldn't focus too much on not only the story, but also the art. You're going to start seeing some things that look familiar. If you know who the artist is, then you know what I mean. Then we have Ultimate War. We might be getting rid of that. I'm not 100% sure. If we get more Ultimate Universe Omnis and it gets covered, then I'll get rid of it, but we'll see. And then we have Ultimate Comics Captain America. Jason Aaron, Ron Garney. Ron Garney is one of my favorite Captain America artists. I loved him in the Mark Waid omnibus, and he's very good here also. But it's a nice, interesting Captain America story. Then we have Wolverine, the origin, or, geez, I keep saying the. I like putting the before this word here. But Wolverine Origin, the complete collection. And then that concludes my Marvel portion. And it then goes into my DC. Yes, they share the same shelf. Like I said in my manga, I'm hopefully going to be upgrading very soon. So hopefully that won't be an issue we run into again. But to start off with DC, we have Aquaman by Jeff Johns. Great run on Aquaman. It will make you an Aquaman fan. Don't knock it because the character that's in it, get it. It is 100% worth it, and anybody that's read it will probably tell you the same. Then we have the Whammy Boy, Blackest Night, the 10th anniversary omnibus.
Also, something I said in my manga collection video, which you guys can watch that after if you're looking for more content. But I am a sucker for zombies, and this is a DC event that has zombies in it, so I absolutely love that event. Next to that, we have DC 1 Million, which is some great Grant Morrison confusing storytelling. Grant Morrison has a effect to really confuse you or make sense. It depends. It goes reader to reader, but it confuses me sometimes. Then we have more Grant Morrison in Final Crisis Omnibus. I did understand this, which is good. A lot of great, I wouldn't say great, unfortunate things happen in this omnibus. Very important to have in the collection for those reasons alone. Going down, we have the Flashpoint 10th anniversary. Man, they really love their 10th anniversary omnis, don't they? Flashpoint, which is the event that leads into the New 52. So if you want to read the New 52, it is somewhat required reading. Somewhat. It doesn't really lead into it for specific reasons, but it is chronologically the event that takes place beforehand. And I won't give that away, just in case we have any new collectors. But then we have next to that Green Lantern by Jeff Johns. This is my favorite run in comics ever. I think everything about this entire run is perfect. If you've read it, you're probably shaking and nodding your head. But this is creme de la creme as far as comic books go. Next to that comes my favorite event in comics ever, which is Infinite Crisis. We have some big events that take place. We have some awesome villains. Superboy Prime, I'm looking at you. We have some awesome fights. This is amazing. Next to that, we have Injustice, Gods Among Us Omnibus, Volumes 1 and 2, with the beautiful connecting spines. Wasn't a huge fan of the games, but the comics are actually pretty good. I can't lie. Very fun and an interesting take on the DC Universe. Then we have GLA by Grant Morrison. Nice little play on superheroes, reflecting godhood, and it's a good run. Not as confusing as a lot of his stories. It definitely gets up there as far as visiting themes, and it can still get confusing, but it's probably his least confusing writing that I've experienced. Then after that comes my favorite run on Justice League, which I will be getting the Volume 2 that's coming out soon, which is Justice League, the New 52 Omnibus. Great art. You get a nice reintroduction to all the characters. Great omnibus to have. Following that is a omni that I guess I will be getting rid of now, because the main reason I was keeping this was for the Wally and Barry Allen scene where they reunite, that tearjerker scene for us as fans. But I've actually heard that it's going to be in Volume 2, so this is probably going to be taken out of the collection, but it's here currently. Next up, we have my favorite DC omnibus ever, The Death and Return of Superman. That is a mouthful, but it is beautiful, it is great, and we love it. It's been printed, 5-6 times? Who knows? Then we have Superman Batman Omnis, Volume 1 and 2. If you love Batman, if you love Superman, worth getting. Ed McGuinness and Jeff Loeb again together, at least in the first few issues of this Omni, and then a couple other issues, I believe, but that's really it. But really good stuff. We have the Superman by Grant Morrison Omnibus. Not my favorite Superman run, but it's worth having if you like the New 52 at all, and a little retelling of Superman's origin, if you will. It's worth getting for that reason alone. Then we have Super Sons, Peter J. Tomasi, Jorge Jimenez. Sign me up. That's all I need to hear. Jorge Jimenez is probably my favorite modern artist right now. Dude just knows how to draw superheroes, and Peter J. Tomasi just knows how to tell a coming of age or family driven story. And I think it's very fitting for the characters that are included, much like this Omni here, which is Superman by Peter J. Tomasi, which again is a family-driven Superman run, and it is amazing and definitely worth reading if you haven't read it already. Then we have more Jeff Johns, surprise, surprise, because he is the best writer ever, in my opinion. Sorry if anybody disagrees, but I do love Jeff Johns. I haven't came across anything that he's written that I don't like so far, but I am interested in finding something that he wrote that I don't like, or that he wrote that I won't like, I'm sorry. So if you have any recommendations, just let me know. Next up, we have the Authority Omnibus. This was another little bit of a whale. I found it at a local comic book store. Support small businesses. Another super fun story. Gives very similar vibes to the Ultimates Omnibus, and because of that reason, it is also one that I've enjoyed quite a bit. Then we have some hardcovers. We have Year One, Frank Miller, great Batman story, a little bit of a retelling of his origin. Then we have Batman the Deluxe Edition, of course, classic story everyone knows about, just don't talk about the sequel. And the Dark Knight Master Race, the one that nobody seems to talk about, but I actually enjoyed more than a lot of things Frank Miller's written. I think it is very well put together, and I like that he shows some respect to Superman and who he is and what he represents by the end of the story. Worth checking out, definitely, especially if you're a fan of this Dark Knight saga universe. Then we have the Golden Child, which is the story that follows the Master Race. I haven't read that yet, but I'm looking forward to eventually read it. Then we have the Killing Joke Deluxe Edition. Everybody knows the Killing Joke. Everybody knows probably most of these Batman stories because Batman is extremely popular, but Killing Joke's great. And then, of course, we have Batman the Three Jokers, which, if you haven't read it, it is kind of a follow-up to the Killing Joke, which is awesome. Also written by Jeff Johns. I probably sound like a Jeff Johns fanboy, but I will take that. Next up, we have The Man Who Laughs. I think that is a little bit of an overhyped story. I didn't enjoy it as much as other people do, but I mean, I guess that's how each of our tastes differs. Then we have Batman Who Laughs. We got Scott Snyder telling another dark take on Batman. It's fun. Batman Who Laughs is a very good character. Very interesting take on an alternate universe of Batman, or a Batman from an alternate universe. There you go, that's right. Then we have Hush, the 15th Anniversary Deluxe Edition. Of course, we have Jim Lee, Jeff Loeb. It gets a lot of flack for its writing, but I actually enjoy it. And of course, Jim Lee art. Can't get much better than that. That's probably peak Jim Lee. Then we have Doomsday Clock by Jeff Johns with Gary Frank on art. I mean, sign me up for that. I actually enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't. They felt it fell apart a bit at the end, which I do agree, but for me, it's about the ride. It's not about the destination, and I really enjoyed the ride. I loved seeing Watchmen characters introduced. I really enjoyed it. Then we have probably two hardcovers that will be exiting the collection because the Omnibus is coming out, which is Dark Knight's Metal and Dark Knight's Death Metal. I was actually holding off when this was first released from getting this because I had an inkling that a Omnibus was going to be released, and here we are. Now we have Tales from the Dark Multiverse Volume 2. I am looking for Volume 1. I do like dark takes or alternate universe or timeline stories. So I think it's a nice, fun read to disconnect from the overarching DC universe for a little bit and focus on something that kind of doesn't matter, which is kind of the same as this story, which is Deceased. Great story. Again, sucker for zombies. Again, zombies in the DC universe, but it is everything you could ever want. And it is amazing. Definitely worth reading. If you're kind of a DC universe only reader, definitely check that out. We have Tom Taylor on it, which he just knows how to write alternate universe storylines. Then we have the Earth 1 little section, which we have Superman Earth 1. I'm missing Volume 2. Green Lantern Earth 1, Volumes 1 and 2. Wonder Woman Earth 1. I believe I'm missing Volume 3. Don't quote me on that. And then we have Teen Titans Earth 1, Volumes 1 and 2. I am missing Volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Batman Earth 1. So I'm slowly collecting that. You can find them at comic stores all the time. So I'm collecting that as I go. I do like these hardcovers. I know they come in a couple paperbacks or an all-in-one paperback, as well as a box set, but I like the hardcovers. Sorry about that. One of my lights fell over. I had to fix that. This is a work in progress, guys. We're going to get better at this. Trust me. So we have Earth 2, the hardcovers, volumes 1 through 6. Boy, I really don't know how to count, do I? Please ignore that. But what I was going to say is this is the first time that I remember hearing about Tom Taylor's name, and I really liked his writing. But I don't know if this is the first time he did any work in DC, but I'm not too sure. But that was the first time that I remember hearing about his name. But I do love this story. I do love how it took place in the New 52 and kind of got meshed together somewhat in this arc here, Convergence. These are all kind of connected, which is obviously why they're next to each other. But yeah, really, really fun. Another story that kind of has nothing to do with the DC universe, is kind of self-contained. Then we have the Flash Year One. Great Flash story. A little bit of exploration of his origin, or not even his origin, just his first missions as the Flash when he was more of a vigilante. Then we have Injustice versus the Masters of the Universe. Boy, I did not like that at all. But it's in the collection because it was cheap and it has to do with Injustice, and I like Injustice, but that is really not good. I was not a fan. And then we have the Joker War Saga, all-in-one event hardcover, which I'm sure I'll regret buying because it will become an Omni. But that wraps up my big shelf. We'll move on over to my smaller shelf. All right, now here we are across the room. Like I said, shelf layout's a little wonky, but we're working on it. We have Joker, the hardcover, Brian Azzarello. Decent Joker story. I do enjoy my Joker. Then we have Justice League, Gods and Monsters. Didn't love it, but it's a nice hardcover. We have 2 out of the 3 Scott Snyder Justice League runs. We have some James Tynion in there, Jorge Jimenez art. Like I said, love the dude when he draws superheroes. Next to that, I do need to get volume 3. I'm planning on doing maybe a little bit of a venture. Maybe I can include you guys and you guys can see a little nice step-by-step of custom binding these into an Omni, but I need to get the volume 3 first, which I keep slacking on. Next to that, we have Superman Shazam First Thunder. Then we have Superman American Alien, probably one of the most influential and important Superman stories ever. We then have Superman Unchained. We got some Snyder and Jim Lee working together. Nice fun slobber knocker of a series. Next to that, we have Superman Hell on Earth and Superman the Men of Tomorrow, 2 little mini events that happened in the issues of Superman during the New 52. Then we have Trinity, the hardcover. Matt Wagner. Didn't love it. But didn't hate it. It's a little bit of a retelling again of Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman working together, meeting, stuff like that. But that concludes my DC indie titles. Of course, I have The Walking Dead, volumes 1 through 16. I know there are omnis, but this is how I was initially collecting them, and I had a bunch of the volumes, and so that's how I finished. Huge Walking Dead fan. Love this series, probably in my top 10. But if you guys are interested on seeing a overview on these, just let me know. I haven't really seen a lot of people do overviews on the actual hardcovers themselves. Then next to that, we have a little bit of a bonus Walking Dead with Here's Negan hardcover. After that, we have Rick Remender's The Deadly Class, volumes 1 through 3. I haven't experienced that, but I am extremely excited. We all know the beautiful treatment Rick Remender's titles get, and these are exactly the same. Absolutely beautiful. And then we have, sorry, that was my dog. We have TMNT. Sorry, that was my dog again. We have volume 1 of TMNT by IDW. I have a lot of these to collect to get to actually catch up. So I am excited to eventually get my hands on those and fully read it. I've only really experienced this volume, but I've heard nothing but good things. So we'll get there eventually. We have a lot of things on the to get list. Then we have The Wicked and Divine hardcover, volume 1. I believe there's a volume 2, but it's hard to get. Don't quote me on that either. I'm not by any means a comic book release of collected editions encyclopedia. I just try to remember what I can, and I am probably wrong more than I'm right. But after that, we have Hit Girl, which is the Kick-Ass 2 prelude. Add all of these in paperbacks. I'm slowly upgrading them. I have this, but I am upgrading them as I go. I've read them all. It's just a matter of collecting them in this format because I don't like paperbacks. Then we have the Valiant Deluxe Edition 1 of Ninjak. Number 2 is pretty expensive, but I'll eventually get my hands on it. There's a handful of characters from the Valiant universe that I do enjoy, Ninjak being one of them, Bloodshot being another, Man of War is another one as well. I'm kind of a noob when it comes to the Valiant universe, but their design and the stories that I have read, I really, really like, so I want to collect more. But that's going to be my objective for these coming years, is just getting a little bit more indie titles. Then we have Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. I would love to get the big damn Sin City to top that off. Then we have Nemesis, which is everything that's great about Batman, but in a horrible, twisted way. Definitely worth reading. I don't hear it talked about as much as it should be, but I did hear that they're coming back with a sequel that's going to be getting released in single issues coming here, so that's exciting. And Jorge Jimenez is actually going to be drawing it instead of Steve McNiven, so that's very exciting, for me at least. Then we have Black Sad, a comic book that I never heard about, but everyone tells me to read all the time. I am planning on reading it sometime soon, and again, I've heard nothing but good things, so I am pretty excited. Then we have the Boys Dynamite Omnibuses, volumes 1 through 3. We all know them, we all love them, or hate them, depending on your story. They all released practically back to back, and you had to pick them up before they sold out. But my volume 3 came, of course, slightly damaged, but it's still readable, and it's a very good series. If you're a fan of the show, definitely check out the comics, because it is way more gratuitous, way more bloody, way more of everything that happens in the show, and you get 3 entire omnibus volumes of it. So worth checking out. But that actually wraps up my comic book collection. So we will go to Future Tyler and hear what he has to say.
All right, that's it. So that is my entire comic book omnibus hardcover collection. Comment down below, let me know if we have anything similar. Also, let me know if you want to see a review or overview on any specific books, because I'm definitely interested in doing that for you. And also hit subscribe and hit that bell notification so you know when I put out any other content similar to this video or those reviews that you're looking for. And have a good week. I'll see you guys next week, and don't forget to stay nerdy. Thank you.